Welcome everybody to the Train for Tomorrow online jobs fair. The aim of today is to connect our Skills Bootcamp graduates, so the individuals who have recently completed their 12-week Skills Bootcamp, or they will have done by the end of March. Some of them at various different stages, with local employers that are either have open vacancies or are looking to recruit. So that's the kind of sole purpose of what we're doing here today. And I think, if you think back to kind of pre-COVID, we'd have probably hired a really big kind of venue. Everybody would have had to jump in their cars or get on public transport and perhaps spend up to an hour traveling to get there. We'd have used lots of fuel. And this is a kind of a much greener and hopefully a kind of an easier way to connect people that are looking for new work opportunities with employers that are looking to recruit. So that's the aim of today. So a little bit about the talent in the room. So we have currently in the room, we've got lots of individuals that, as I say, have either just completed or shortly going to finish their skills boot camps. And those courses range from, we've got several that have been through different CompTIA courses, so around IT fundamentals, cybersecurity, and also cloud architecture. We've got learners that have completed with Exeter College the Swift Apple software development course. We've got learners with Petroc that have completed an Agile software development course, also digital marketing courses run up at Petroc, and then learners with Truro and Penwith that have also completed a software development course. And then finally, not to forget them, Bournemouth and Poole have run a digital marketing course. So we've got a lot of talent in the room today, a lot of hours. These learners have put a lot of hours into these courses, so these courses have ranged from 60 up to 288 hours. So a real big commitment from the individuals in the room who have looked to retrain themselves through these skill boot camps. Who else have we got in the room? So we've got our employers in the room. So I want to say welcome today. We've got Software Solved, we've got the Falmouth Launchpad, we've got Securious, we've got Singer Instruments, we've got Cathedral Appointments, we've got Morrison's, we've got PGL Training, we've got Sarah West Recruitment, Grad Southwest Recruitment, Jurassic Fibre, and the Ted Ragg Trust. So a big thank you to all of you employers who have kind of taken the leap of faith of coming to this weird thing called an online jobs fair and giving up your time to come and meet our learners this morning and talk about your organisations and the companies that you're representing. And we've also got some great speakers for you this morning. So every hour on the hour, you'll be pulled back into the main stage. And we've got with us Joe Bevan on the call, who's going to be talking about the Tech Southwest skills report that was launched recently. We've got Toby, I'm just looking for Toby Gamblin, who is going to be talking about digital and design. And I've lost my other speaker. And we've got, I think that might be all of our speakers this morning. So yeah, we've got a speaker at 10 and a speaker at 11. If I tell you a little bit how the event works, so hopefully before you came to this main stage, you would have seen each of the employers has a table. As long as there is an empty seat at that table, you just double click and it will take you to the table. Once you get to that table, there might be a conversation already going on. If there's not, and feel free to start that conversation by introducing yourself and telling the employer a little bit about the course that you've been doing. And equally, it's an opportunity for the employer that's hosting that table to tell you about their organisation and any vacancies, either current vacancies or vacancies in the pipeline that they've got. There's also a way that you can exchange information. So obviously there's a chat feature, but you can also put your CV, a link to your CV in that chat feature as well. And then every 15 minutes, there's a prompt by the system for everyone to shuffle round. So that hopefully will mean with kind of a dozen employers today and 15-minute intervals, there's a chance for you to get round everybody and have a chat with everybody that's here today. So I'm just going to go a little bit back to the Skills Bootcamps and tell you a little bit about them. So the Train for Tomorrow Skills Bootcamps have been running now since January 2021. it represents, so we were one of 6 areas nationally that were invited to put forward a proposal to the Department for Education to obtain the money to run these skills boot camps. And that first proposal that we put forward was successful, and we were given £1.75 million to run skills boot camps. That this is the really important bit, that mapped to where we'd got skills shortage vacancies in the digital and technical sector. The reason the digital and technical sector was chosen is that the whole kind of premise of skills boot camps is about helping people move into resilient, growing sectors, and our digital and technical sectors are growing sectors. They're kind of the growth that we will see, has been phenomenal and will continue to be phenomenal over the next decade. But we also had to prove in the region that we had and we had a supply and demand kind of problem, if you like. So we use something called burning glass, which tells us where we have open vacancies and where vacancies stay open for a long time. So we had to evidence as a region that we had a real kind of a need to stimulate the supply into those digital and technical roles. So we put on a range of digital and technical skills boot camps, and in that first January we had 713 learners start. You can kind of see through the stats there. So a really high number of them completed those courses. So 504 completed those courses. And when you think that that was against a backdrop, if we think back to this time last year, we were back in a national lockdown, schools were homeschooling, so it was really difficult for those learners. A lot of them were kind of juggling supporting kids homeschooling, or kind of, they might have been furloughed, so a lot of anxiety around. So it was a real great achievement that 504 learners completed. Of those, half went on to interview, and 169 of those learners have since secured higher paid salaries as a result. We then did another round of investment, so March to June last year. We secured another £500,000 from the Department for Education to continue on some of the more popular skills boot camps. So another 142 learners went through that programme, and as you can see, there were a really good number that completed and went on to interview. And then our latest set of learners are now our Wave 2 learners. So this programme has benefited from £750,000 worth of investment, which has allowed us to run the boot camps that I mentioned on the slide previous. And across this Wave 2, we've had 248 learners start. And the bit that's highlighted there in yellow is we're just waiting to kind of see these figures come in. So end of March, we'll kind of see the number of learners that started that have completed. And then this kind of next bit about interviews and outcomes, that's where the employees in the room hopefully come in, because that's our kind of next part of the jigsaw, is to help each of those learners go on to an interview that is suitable and of interest to the skills that they've acquired. But it's actually not all about kind of numbers and money. I mean, obviously, without the money, we can't run the programs, and then we kind of have to go into a massive recruitment and onboarding program. But actually, it's each individual and each individual story that sits behind those numbers. And there's just 2 learners that I've just pulled out just to kind of show you the variety of different circumstances that we've got. So Peter was a chef, and he lost his job during COVID. He'd always wanted to retrain in cybersecurity, but just kind of couldn't see how that would happen. And actually, the opportunity, COVID actually provided an opportunity in a strange way, which it actually gave him a period of time where he could retrain through the CompTIA cybersecurity pathway. He did extremely well in his final exam and has gone on to move on into the cybersecurity industry. And then our second case study is Nguyen from Somerset. She'd moved over to the UK, and she'd had got kind of experience that touched in the healthcare sector before, and also digital, but she hadn't found a way since moving to the UK of piecing that together. So with a course at Bridgewater and Taunton College, she was able to kind of combine her previous experience of healthcare and digital into their digital healthcare course, and whilst supporting her family who were homeschooling, she completed that course and has gone on gone on to move into the sector as well. So that's why we do what we do. Basically, it's about helping people make changes to their lives and move into kind of resilient and secure and hopefully higher paid modes of work. So what's next for Train for Tomorrow? So what we're here to do today is we're supporting our Wave 2 graduates. So we will support them for up to 6 months post completion of their course. Our aim is that we match 100% of them with an interview, a relevant interview into the sector that they're looking to move. So this jobs fair is part of that today, in that it's one of our kind of tools, if you like, of how we bring learners together with employers and vacancies. After today, so employers in the room, you know, if you have new vacancies that come up over the next 6 months, please push them through to Claire and the team, and we will get them in front. We'll be doing regular newsletters out to our learners, and we'll get those vacancies circulated. So helping our Wave 2 graduates, that's our kind of number one kind of focus. Second focus for us though is what's next in terms of skills bootcamps. And it has seen, with the spending review, the central government spending review, skills bootcamps are here to stay, and they have been kind of given a very green light signal from the Treasury that they will be financed. So I think the investment that went into skills bootcamps last year nationally was 40 million, and they're looking to put 150 million in for the financial year 2022-2023. What that means for us is we have put forward a proposal to say, yes, we want to carry on with our digital and technical skills bootcamps, but we also want to bring in new skills bootcamps in the area of construction, green skills, health, and also the professional services. So we're hoping to hear at the end of this month whether we've been successful, and then we'll kind of start our next phase of how we launch our Wave 3. Just coming on to Wave 3, we really want to work with employers. So what makes a successful bootcamp is where the curriculum has been informed by employers so that it's highly relevant. So there is opportunities for employers to kind of help with that curriculum design. There's opportunities for employers to add value to the course. So that might be doing a lunchtime talk to a cohort of learners, doing a workplace tour, things like that, right through to kind of the extreme, if you like, of 100% employer involvement. Is we have a couple of employers who have come to us and said, we would like to kind of design our own ring-fenced skills bootcamp, so we know exactly the modules that we need to put in there, and we will be looking at kind of either using it with our existing workforce or using it as a talent builder, as a way of recruiting from. So just to kind of an ask really at the employers that are with us today, if you are interested in that, please come forward and talk to myself or talk to Claire. And then kind of finally, we have, I will come on to talk about this in my last slide, we have got a reducing labour workforce, so we're looking at how we can kind of reach out and bring in new talent into our local workforce. So we'll be working with the local authorities' refugee resettlement teams. So we already have a number of Singaporean refugees over here at the moment have got really strong finance skills, so we're looking at how we can kind of run a specific skills bootcamp to help them integrate into the UK finance sector. We'll also be doing the same with Ukrainian refugees, and we're also looking to work with Her Majesty's Prison Service about how we help people coming out of prison move into the local labour workforce. So that's what's next for Train for Tomorrow. Just a little bit about why it's important. So we want to, as local authorities, so as Cornwall, as Devon County Council, Somerset, and also Dorset, which is this programme has covered, it is what we do in our job. It is about helping the economy build strong, resilient modes of employment for people that can enable social mobility. So, you know, whilst we know salaries on average have increased nationally by 4%, this is against a backdrop of the fact that the cost of living has increased by 5%. So, you know, actually there's kind of no net gain there. So what we want to do is help people move into roles that we know pay above the average in terms of annual salaries, and digital and technical roles fall into that bucket. So that's why we pick skills bootcamps that kind of align to it being into a resilient sector, into a growing sector, and also that offer higher paid modes of work. We align our skills bootcamps, like I said, to supply and demand challenges. So this table on the right is from our Burning Glass data, and it's looking at the vacancies in November and December. So if we kind of pull out of their programmers and software development professionals, so there were 1,300 total postings in the month of November and December, and of those 525 were unique. So there were 525 unique unique vacancies, job vacancies alone in November and December. And we've got the situation's worsened in that we have a shrinking labour force at the moment. So we actually 26,000 people fell out of our local labour market over the 2-year period of 2019 to 2021. That was a mix. We think what stimulated that was a mix of the COVID situation, and people kind of looked at their life and kind of made choices about what they wanted to be doing. There were lots of people that retired early. Brexit has affected that situation where we've lost talent and young people stayed on in education. So these are kind of some of the reasons why we choose the skills bootcamps that we do, and why it's important that we continue to kind of help stimulate the talent pipeline.